So where I live, it has been so hot these past few days. It is definitely barbecue weather and the perfect time for picnics and summer parties. And if you are trying to stay alcohol free at the moment, but you can't imagine not drinking at a sunny barbecue, don't worry, this video is for you because I want to share 4 tips to help you navigate these kinds of events and have a really good time in the process. My first tip is to get clear on what the point of the gathering is. So why are you going? Why are people meeting up to spend time together? If you stop and really think about this, you'll soon see that the point of the gathering isn't to sit or stand outside and drink alcohol. If that was all it was about, then you just do that at home, alone. There would be no point in even leaving your house. We arrange these things with other people for a reason. And the real reason you're meeting up might be, well, many things. To catch up with old friends, to hear their news. Maybe you're celebrating a birthday or an anniversary. Perhaps you're trying to get to know some people better or meeting some other people for the first time. Maybe you're spending quality time with friends or family who you haven't seen in person for ages. When you get really, really clear on what the point of meeting up is, it helps you focus on what really matters, because sometimes I think that just gets lost in the language we use. People often say, "Oh, you must come round for drinks," which makes it sound as if it is all about alcohol, but it's not. It's just that we say that because it's easier than being vulnerable and saying something like, "God, I've really missed you and I'd love to spend some time with you and catch up." When you know what the point of the event is, you should start to see that you are still going to get that no matter what liquid you pour into your glass. You really aren't missing out. My second tip is to decide in advance that you're not going to drink. I know this seems like, duh, it's a bit obvious, but seriously, waiting until you get there to see what it's like or how you feel nearly always ends in you giving up. But not only that, before you end up drinking, you have to go through this torturous process of going back and forth, battling with yourself, having an entire conversation in your head about whether or not you'll drink. That really ruins your time and takes you out of the moment and stops you enjoying what's happening around you. You'll end up drinking because it feels easier to just shut down that noisy conversation in your head. The thing to remember about pushing through these kinds of will I, won't I moments is that you can't figure sobriety out without overcoming a few challenges. You already know what happens when you drink at these events, and if it was so great, you probably wouldn't be watching this. So why not give yourself the chance to experience something different? You don't know what you might learn. What if you discover that actually you don't need to drink in order to have a great time at a barbecue? Now, that would be a very useful thing to find out. My third tip is to make sure you have an alcohol-free drink in your hand at all times. I say this for several reasons. First of all, an easy way to turn down an offer of an alcoholic drink is to literally go, "No, I'm good, thanks, I've already got one." Having a drink to hold also gives you something to do with your hands if you are feeling a bit nervous or a bit worried. Plus, staying hydrated is actually a really good way of warding off cravings for alcohol. Many of us misinterpret thirst and hunger as cravings for booze, so you can make your life easier by just taking care of that and making sure you don't get dehydrated. If it's a barbecue, you can probably take your own drinks with you, and top tip, I suggest packing more than you think you'll need because I bet someone else wants to drink them. Honestly, that story you have about how you're going to be the only one not drinking, it just won't be true. You'll be amazed at how many other people pick soft drinks when they're there and actually available. My final tip is to plan ahead. And by this I mean really thinking through what's going to happen and how you can make life as easy as possible. So for example, if you know that this is the kind of event where you're going to turn up at lunchtime, but there's probably not going to be any food until late in the afternoon, then have something to eat before you go. You've probably not done that in the past because drinking on an empty stomach gave you more of a buzz. But as I mentioned just earlier, getting really hungry is not a good idea because that can trigger cravings. You can also plan what you're going to say to people if they ask why you're not drinking. I'll link below this video to another blog I did about exactly that. You can also plan your exit. Perhaps see if you can drive there so you can make it really easy to leave when you want. And don't forget, another thing you can plan is your next day as well. Take some time out to reflect on how things went and celebrate yourself for stepping out of your comfort zone. Plan some lovely sober treats for you to enjoy when you get home or the next day. Get into the habit of celebrating your hard work. So those are my 4 tips for surviving summer parties and boozy barbecues. And now I'd love to hear from you. What has worked for you? What has helped you stay on track? And what have been your experiences so far? Let me know in the comments below, and I'm wishing you a great and happy hangover-free week ahead.